Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. In the red, it's the final boss. It's Dark up against his Korean counterpart in the blue, the Protoss player Trap. A best of 3 Zerg versus Protoss showdown. And I'm not saying he's a gold digger, but Dark certainly has a penchant for gold bases, and that economic greed is something I can respect as someone who's about to beg you for likes, and maybe, if you haven't made it there yet, subscribes. And Jimmy, quickly, what are we at? 1,418 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And maybe that'll help stave off Dark's retirement, so I can do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better, as it's a cannon rush. It's a reactionary cannon rush. Reactionary cannon rush to Dark's proxy gold. And he finished the hatchery. The forge was quite late, as it wasn't the original intent. It was just kind of an obligation at this stage. And I think he's going to finish both cannons, because clearly Dark is at least somewhat committed. And you really, if you're going to commit to the cannon rush, you must kill the hatchery. You just spent 300 minerals on cannons. You spent on the forge as well back at home. So if you don't kill the hatch, it's not wasted, but it's certainly not good. So the Queen, that's a very optimistic inject. May actually complete just barely in time. There's an adept. The wall in back at that. I don't think that's a wall, but I'm no expert on such things. Well, will the inject pop up? I feel like that was a reef. Where did the Queen go? Ah! Take me home, creepless roads, to the place where everyone else is. Oh no! Oh, hello! Why are there? Okay, well, here we go. So there's Zerglings in trap space. There's a Queen in the middle of the map. There are drones out here. 2 cannons in the midst of everything. The legs will get taken out. The cannons, there's nothing that can challenge them, so they will remain. I thought he might try to retake the gold for some reason, but there's still cannons there. They don't go anywhere. One of their major weaknesses. And now the Zerglings trying to slip by, but the adepts at the watchtower actually draw a couple in, and fighting him in the streets like that is not going to be a great long-term success, or short-term or success in any fashion for Dark. And what? Oh my god. The blue mineral workers are fighting. The probes on the run, but the Zerglings! That doesn't seem very fair. Drones already beat probes 1v1 because of their regen and their fighting spirit. Wait, that's a map name. All right, what a name. Yeah, I was right. Yes, that is, well, it's a wall now. Technically. So now Dark has a Roach warrant on the way. He's got two more gases, which, when you're at 38 drones, which is not a high drone count at all, certainly indicates unsavory intentions. Unless you like kind of cheese, in which case, well, maybe you'll enjoy it. But it's a Ravager timing. The awkward part, though, is one, Dark a bit supply block, though his Overlord's on the way, and there's a Stargate done. So the Oracle will at the very least see all of this, and there's not a single Spore Crawler, and there's only 3 Queens, and they're kind of scattered throughout. So the Oracle's going to get a lot of damage done. Trap is trying to take a 3rd base, which is a bit optimistic with this many units on the field, but kills 3, 4 drones, and counting. 6 drones. Well, slaps Revelation down, and gets away with only a bit of HP left, but more than one is gratuitous. Here come the Roaches. The Queen thinking about venturing out onto the map, but a single Queen is not going to be the level of anti-air required. And Trap is prepared for the attack that's coming. He's got a Void Ray on the way, building multiple shield batteries, but Dark is set down this path. And his best chance of success is to get there as quickly as possible, before the shield batteries complete, before the Stargate units are either able to build up energy or do too much damage. Burns through one of the Roaches, working on the natural now, lights up the Oracles, And another Roach. The prismatic alignment does so much damage, but he uses the Ravager cocoon, which Trap not microing. The armor of the Ravager cocoon. He will get it eventually, but it actually bought so much time there. The oracles are burning through, and Dark, now foot on the gas here, and all the gas into Ravagers, as Dark has not built a single drone. No more tech. This is it. Roaches and Lynx, or die trying, and it's looking more like that as time goes on. But gets another sentry. Shield battery overcharge a bit late. Force field and Dowler short. Catches some of the units at the natural. There's only one battery, and he just used the overcharge. And here comes a single Ravager. The Void Ray will target it. Oracles are out of energy from the initial wave. I don't think Trap was really respecting the magnitude of units, and suddenly Dark's in the base. The probes are pulled to fight. Not the ideal frontline units, but Stalkers are somehow even more fragile. The Oracles are draining their last dregs of energy to help with the defense, but suddenly 20 probes are dead. The shield batteries are dying. The Void Ray, a sad excuse for actual damage, as Dark is starting to rip through the base. 23 probes dead, and Trap plummets to dead even on workers. So it's not the end of the world yet, but slowly but surely, Dark is breaking through, and Trap is, there's not really that much production. He's building some oracles. The third base is now under attack. The Zerglings on top of everything. +1 ground weapons and Blink, I guess, are pretty big upgrades when dealing with this sort of attack. Anything that allows you to keep your units alive a little bit longer. There's the Void Ray, gets the shield battery. All the Zerglings are dead. Speaking of Zerglings, more in the natural. And, well, Dark realizes that the opportunity, the window is finally closing. A few more Zerglings get in, and Trap plummets to a 2-probe lead. Dark just built a big round of drones. So, but they haven't been mining. He doesn't have the tech. He just started a lair. Blink will be done. There's still a bunch of Stargate units on the field. And he already has a proxy pylon. Dark never dealt with the cannons. And now the oracles come back in for another pass. Burning out the drones. The queens, get off my queen! 5 drones dead. Gets one of the oracles, which could be a pretty big deal. And a probe comes along, even though he still has that proxy. And that's a lot of Link Stalkers. The queens will be pulled to defend. Even the probe getting in on the action, trying to target the Void Ray. The problem is, that's it. That's all the units he has. The queens. The drones are pulled. He's warping in slowly but surely from the cannon rush. And now that forward outpost, Dark is, GG. That's it. The attack doing a surprising amount, but still not nearly enough to break through. Dark with a strong yet ill-fated response to the cannon rush. And will get cut down eventually, though that was dangerously close to working. If Trap had been a little bit less efficient with the oracles, very likely Dark is able to kill enough probes to at least claw back into the game. But with Trap only dropping to a similar worker count, I don't think that was going to happen. So, well, a dramatic one. And the commitment of Dark to just, like, he gets cannon rush, he says, yeah, do it. Lets the hatch finish. I think it was kind of autopilot to inject the hatchery, though. Clearly, creep spread was, well, when the inject doesn't even go off, there's kind of no point there, but... Well. Now we're on Ghost River. Dark down, 1-0. But I don't think that's indicative of how the whole series, or at least the next game, will go, as that was clearly one of the more ambitious builds out of Dark. But that's, there's quite a spectrum in so many ways when it comes to him. Trap, on the other hand, managed to kind of find the baseline, that Oracle into Blink +1. He was trying to get back to something resembling a standard style to deal with what Dark was doing. And eventually, he was able to bring it back in line. And that's when he had the army to win the game. The Overlord, 2 Overlords committed, which is kind of a rare sight, as usually you just have one because you don't want to get multiple Overlords sniped off early. Trap intentionally hiding the Stargate. Dark knows where the pylons are. You can only, you must build those in a power field, as you know, so. Dark really wants to know what Trap is doing, and Trap deliberately hiding it. He delays his Stargate by a pretty significant, like 30 seconds, in order to hide it from Dark. Third base on the way. And, well, Is Trap going to do something crazy with this Stargate? Now that he just built an Oracle. I was wondering what we'd see because he did delay it for so long, but Dark will, of course, have much more ready to defend this time around. The lack of anything else he spotted in the base kind of lends itself. The lack of information is information in and of itself. Now, there could be like a proxy Dark Shrine or even a gateway out there, but it's exceedingly unlikely. And the response is still kind of similar. Get your Spore Crawlers in a timely manner. Get a Roach Warren around the 4-minute mark, maybe earlier in this case. Well, he didn't get any Spore Crawlers, so the Queens, he's gonna eat 3 drone kills and put the Oracle in the orange, as is customary. The Queens will now angrily shake their many fists at it. And don't come back, but it likely will. Another Oracle. There's the Twilight on the way behind as well. Trap has found a lot of success with the kind of classical glaive adept timings. It's an old build, but it certainly still checks out, as they're so dangerous to any underprepared Zerg, or even a regularly prepared Zerg. And an overprepared Zerg might end up too far behind economically. So, we've really covered all the options there. It very much looks like Glaive Adepts, though, as he doesn't have, or wasn't mining from the additional gases. He didn't get a forge. Brenda! And we're marching one by one. We talked about discipline, Susan. So what that means is you need to shut the fuck up. I don't... Brenda, we're gonna get demonetized. You need to stop. I don't care. You can't get away with it just because you're old. How dare you? I don't... Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. And Dark is gonna go with the stroll across the map and try to kill him strategy, which there are no glaives. The Queens have arrived. The Oracles get 9 drone kills, but they do use their energy. Unfortunately, a Void Ray is not going to be enough here. And there is no transfuse, as, oh wow, he eats the corrosive bile damage, and he's not even in range. The Oracle wanders over and gets taken down. And the Void Ray down as well. It's a disaster, and here come the Zerglings, the Queens, supporting the attack, and a Dark Shrine desperately on the way. He's just gonna back off with a shield battery overcharge. You don't need transfuse if you just bring enough Queens. And down goes the overcharged battery. The Zerglings are streaming in. The Dark Shrine is a long way away, though it is kind of him to build a shrine to his opponent. As now Dark has broken into the buildings. The Queen's still working on it. The Stargate vulnerable. That corrosive bile wave kind of wasted, but the batteries are all out of energy. And will there even be... Okay, there are some gateways in the main. This is quite a slow-moving attack, and behind it, Dark only has 28 workers. So if the DT's actually complete, and he's got a Lair on the way, this could get very dicey. Oh, now a lot of probes are pulled off the line. Another Oracle comes out, which is exceedingly optimistic. Gets knocked down immediately. There's a Dark Templar on the way, and he'll start slicing through the Ravagers. And here we go again. He's working on the probes, and Trap is taking critical damage this time. The Queens I can't go any faster. I know. I know. Do your best. I know. Oh, this is a little sad. The Lair will be done, but we'll be in time to save the queens. He's gonna try to save the queens by just sending in the Zerglings to the main, and there's not much here to defend. Some sentries. Just goes for the pylon. May force a force field. Oh my, this is one of the saddest things I've ever seen, or for Dark, the saddest thing he's ever not seen. There may be one survivor. Oh my. Gruesome. Fortunately for Dark, though, he did enough economic damage. And with an Overseer here... Well, did he? He just keeps going. It's just a Ravager Ling all in. The queens are dead, but the monarchy is not required in order to conquer the Protoss. There's just not enough production. Like, he's got 3 gateways in total. He can't build enough units to compete with Dark's 28 drone timing. And there's no, did he finish glaives? He did. But glaive adept's not so good against even sloaches here. Targets down the shield battery that's overcharged. There's no more force fields. The Zerglings keep getting in. Oh. Well, it's like watching a steamroller slowly grind over someone's legs here. And unfortunately, it doesn't have zealot legs either. Gonna target the Overseer. Dark builds another in the corner, so even if it does go down, I don't think a Dark Templar is gonna save the day. And Trap is in quite a death animation, but he's trapped in a prison of his own design. Not able to escape into his base, and Dark, with just a handful of roaches and a couple Zerglings, will overrun the last Stalker. And start working on... Wow, this is... They're just... It feels like they're exhausted. There's just nothing like... GG. GG. Trap taps it out. And Dark, with great effort and great sacrifice, ties up the series. Wow. Well. Match point. I wonder what to expect in Game 3. That was sarcasm. I expect a Ravager Ling all in. Though, it is Site Delta. So, any map with a ramp to the natural makes it significantly... I'm not going to say infinitely harder, because that obviously isn't true for those pedantic mathematicians out there. But that's redundant. But, just going up a ramp in general. Not just because of force field, but maintaining vision, using corrosive bow, all that is a lot more difficult. So, if it was to be something from the charcuterie board of Dark's addled mind, in a good way, I'd imagine a Nydus. Or even Overlord drops or something along those lines. Maybe a German taxi bit. But we saw the Soul Stroll last time around, but facilitated by the short distance between the bases. But those leg cramps eventually were too much as the DTs eviscerated the queens on the way out. Which was, that was rough to watch, but the ends justify the means. Dark in a nutshell. Like and subscribe. Overlord gliding in. Only sent 1 this time. I guess Ghost River, it's a little easier to get those Overlords in. Is part of why we saw it on the previous game. But there's the Stargate in the main base. And, well, Trap with the expansion. Now we're going to play a standard Protoss versus Zerg. One that very likely you could close your eyes and have an idea of what's happening. You know what? All right. Third base on the way. 4-6 Zerglings. First Adept Shade now. Second one in production. Could go for a Stalker, but probably not going to. Oracle begins at the Stargate. I think the Void Ray was a bit of a one-time deal. But, behind it, is it going to go Sentry? I don't think so. I think third Adept. Slaps down the second gate at the wall. And Dark adding his queens on, making sure they're in position for the Oracle. And another half dozen 8-lings or so to make sure you can deal with those first Adepts, as well as maybe pressure the third. I was wrong about the Lings and the Void Ray. Wow. That tells you it's a non-standard build. Void Ray first. And no extra Lings. But not building anything else out of the gateway here. You should be very suspicious of any Overlord near your base with Dark involved. That Overlord clearly trying to hide in the corner. Trap knows that... What? Oh, there's nothing... Oh. If he just committed the first time, very likely the Adept wouldn't have had time to warp in. But unfortunately for Trap, or for Dark rather, the Zerglings will be shut out. That Overlord not getting hunted down. And a Forge on the way. We already got the 2 gases at the natural, yep. Looking like Blink +1. Oracle will be politely yet firmly asked to leave the premises by the queens. And the second group of queens, who do not like the first group, but colleagues, acquaintances, work friends, but only because it makes life easier to consider it that way. Now, they don't really like each other, but like, if you have to work together, then just minimize interaction. You know how it is. Like and subscribe. Minimal interaction. Blank and +1 on the way. And now the queens, and there's that Spore Crawler in that little back corner. Not covering the entire mineral line, but minimizing the amount of delay of mining. Yeah, it's an opportunity cost situation. You might lose a couple extra drones to Oracles, but if your mining is reduced... And there's the Nydus. No more silly mining math, but instead, that's so many Zerglings and Banelings. Oh my. Dark. Well, is a Baneling bust Nydus? And is that... Oh my god, the Overlord's still there. Will he put a decoy Nydus first? No! A very forward one. And Trap is in the dark. He has no idea. A revelation at the base. Oh, he sees the Nydus, but is it too late? The Zerglings are coming in, and we've arrived! The Queen, yet again, almost takes out an Oracle immediately. Blink is not done. A disastrous timing here for Trap. 30 more seconds. He'd have Blink +1, multiple shield batteries and cannons, but now there's a Nydus in the main. Oh no, and Banelings to bust through the buildings as they can't run away. The Banelings don't have speed, but they don't need it when they're this close. Zerglings in the main, Queens in the main, Banelings in the Nydus, and now in the main. That's how the whole process works. Eventually, the Nydus has real throughput issues, but just gives up on the third. The main base is much more valuable, and oh no! With 1.7 seconds left, Blink will be shut down. And he certainly will miss it. Oh no, a disaster for Trap as Dark is all over the main. The sentry's trying to box out. He got +1 done, but that 2 seconds on Blink will haunt him. I don't know if it'll make the difference. He doesn't have enough for another force field. Oh my. Oh, he comes down the ramp. Dark with no respect. And too close to the probes. 25 are dead. And Dark has been droning behind this. Take the main. Take his main, Dark. Do it. Do it! Is it BM? Yes, that's the point. Well, the Zergling's trying to get down the ramp. And Trap just taps it out Dark, 2-1. This time, no Ravagers, but Banelings instead. And he had Hydras on the way to deal with the Blinkstalkers. And that brings us to our bonus game. Yes, I promised you more Dark until, or ideally, when he never retires, but just in general. But more darkness before we see the light of the next video. And that was not going to be, that wasn't as clever as I hoped it would be, but a decisive victory over Trap. And even the game he lost was ridiculously close for how far behind Dark should have been. But I've got everyone's favorite here. ZVZ. A knife fight in a phone booth with as much brain damage as you're able to inflict on your opponent before you actually bring your knife out. And we're on Amphion. Which I'm not actually sure. I have no idea how to play. I vetoed this map as Zerg, so I don't know how this plays in ZVZ. I just know ZVZ. There's no real middle ground. There's either early game chaos, kind of full-on degenerate gambling, or we kind of sit back and mash each other's roach balls into the opponent's face and see whose is bigger. Which, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. And preferences, I'm sure. But I expect maybe a bit more in the form of mind games than macro plays out of our Zerg in the blue. Shin, on the other hand, is a bit of a mixed bag. He's a player. He's beaten Cyril before in some very high-profile games in ZVZ, but that was a long while ago. And he's consistently been one of the top Zergs in Korea, even more so recently, despite his religious commitment to not upgrading adrenal glands. That doesn't really affect ZVZ because rarely is there even the opportunity to not upgrade adrenal glands, because I can't remember the last time I've seen a hive that it wasn't just mass lurker. Or in general, a hive. Well, Mir just... He's taken down... They're both taking down the mineral wall towards the third. Which... They both see it. Or at least they should. Shin's just gonna take his third base. Which, now he's committed. He's invested those minerals. Dark has not taken a third. Which, not surprising. He's leaving his options open. And very conspicuously, he's mining through this mineral. He's making a lot of Zerglings. And here's the knife fight part. Both players know the other has a knife. Oh my god, the queens. You shall not pass. Okay, Susan, we get it. Well, so hiding how you're going to try to stab your opponent for as long as possible is the key part. Shin knows something's coming, but he already has +1 Carapace on the way and a third base, which Dark hasn't committed to. It's 24 Zerglings, and for a moment there to 0, which is less. But the Zerglings against Queens on the ramp. The thing is, Dark is also sending Lings through the gap. The backdoor stab. He's got 2 knives this time around. And he's catching them out on the map. He goes for the drones. Shin doesn't really have many more. The Queens are surrounded by the Lings. He's miscalculated. And it may be a lethal mistake. The third base under attack, overwhelmed by Dark Zerglings. And somehow, even with a similar economy, the Queens are dead. And without the Queens and without the hatchery, there's no advantages here for Shin. What a disaster. Dark is just making more Lings. If there's anything we've seen from these both series so far, is the level of commitment. It's not a surprise he's married with a child, as Dark is clearly very focused on commitment here. And who doesn't love cheese? right. GG. Shin taps it out. And the game very decisively goes to Dark. But, I mean, you get more opportunities. So, go to Site Delta. Best of 5. Don't worry. I don't think this will take as long as the entire best of 3 is. It really depends. If we get one of those Hive Tech games, where they both actually survive in order to get Vipers and Lurkers and all that, well, then we can have the fun of Vipers abducting one another. But so far, Side Delta. Shin in the bottom right, Dark in the top left. And so far, so standard. I feel like Shin kind of getting bogged down by a ladder build there. Dark didn't change much from your standard build besides just hiding the lings for another 20 seconds. It's not long enough to start ringing alarm bells until the lings are already coming across the map. So if you're not really focused on it or even preempting it, you can just die. But the addition of the lings with the backstab, I think, threw them off enough in order to just claim victory right there and right then, instead of just doing a bunch of damage, pulling back, and building up again. So we will see. The Overlords, and that's the thing about DPD, with the Overlords, you'll always see when they're expanding. You'll see when they're coming out of their base with Zerglings. So you get some warning. It's just that warning is not enough to prepare for a fully committed attack. So Dark manipulating that little bit of extra info. And here, another third base. There's a Baneling nest on the way. The Queen's out at the front. Dark is building a third queen, but the 2 queens at the front looks very much like this is going into Roaches. Rarely, if you're doing just a Ling Bane all-in, do you actually put the queens at the ramp like this. So, I think Dark is trying to show Shin the look of... Yeah, he's gonna... Oh, do it. He pulls the drone out, and I think if the Zerglings would have committed, he would have built a Roach one or an Evo chamber there. He's clearly trying to sell Shin on this bull Shin right here. But is Shin buying what he's selling? And does it matter? The Bane Nest is on the way. A bunch more Zerglings. He's going to slap down the third hatchery as well. Dark is down 5 drones, but he's not building any more behind this. Here are the Banes. Out of vision of the Overlords. And the Zerglings take out one of the queens again. Shin keeps getting caught in between the bases. That more queens come out. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson? The Banelings come up. One of them evades the queens, and the Zerglings are getting zoned out by the Bane. Gets a decent hit. Down goes. He's lost 3 queens again. It's a disaster. And that's not a wall. The Banes let us in. And bust through. I think he manually detonated. More Banes in the natural and Dark. Well, and with the Banes, oh my god, the damage. The damage. And before he can slaughter those drones, disappointingly, Shin just taps out. Wow. All right. Well, that was not the longest match. I think that was actually quicker than the last one. But, well, we're going back to Alcyone with Dark on match point. How consistent is he? Oh, here we go. I ain't saying he's a gold digger. Here's the thing. Shin does not have access to cannons, but he did go pool first. which is actually incredibly unfortunate for Dark. And he is sending an Overlord along the pathing to scout for this. So he could have a direct response. Now, getting to this base is Zerg. Like, you can go through the rocks. You can technically go through some of the mineral walls if you're willing to commit to that. He's going to spot the base. Yeah, he's going for the sixlings either way. No gas for Shin, but either way, he's going to have the lings. This is kind of an economic control build where you build the lings and try to cancel any of their hatcheries. In this case, the hatchery just happens to be at the gold. He's bringing he's going to go through the middle rocks, or mineral wall rather, which is incredibly rare. But in this particular case, should be very effective. The drones, they came to the gold and immediately are told to go right back home. As there is no defending against these. He slaps down a spine crawler, which, just in case you were thinking about trying to defend this base, Dark will actually have Zergling speed on the way first. There is a queen. He's gonna try to poke at the spine, but I don't think this is happening. He cancels the queen. Deja vu. We've just been in this place before. Dark losing his gold and now making awkward ovies. A Baneling nest on the way. So Dark just gonna try out one base. The queen chasing down the only unit in the game that is actually slower than a queen off creep. Which is, of course, the Overlord. But the Zerglings box it out. Body blocking. And trying to buy a little bit more time, but the queen is committed. Come back here. There are more Zerglings on the way. And gets the Overlord, but might be able to kill the queen. Zergling's in the main. Zergling speed is not done, and yeah, the queen might be far off creep, but at the end of the day, there's still too much. Shin is up 10 workers. Dark re-expanded. Of course he did. I did. Wait, is that? No, that's perfect size. Queen-sized wall. The Zerglings evading Dark, but Dark also evading the Zerglings. And now here come 3 Banes, but with 4 Queens holding the palisade here, I'm not optimistic about the effectiveness of these Banelings. That's what I'll say. Now there are drones just all over the place as he retakes the gold base. Dark is, make no mistake, this is a terrible spot for Dark. Not made any easier by canceling the hatch. Looks like the Zerglings will get it and then go into the main mineral line. Now the Zerglings are coming back to defend, but they're going to be far too late to deal with this. Some drone drilling, and wow. Okay, well, I'm not trapped in here with you. Almost gets one more drone, but did he actually only kill the? Wow, 10 Zerglings for 1 drone, and that 1 drone was all on its own, which nothing to phone home about. But Shin right now has a Lair on the way, +1 in production. He is very well aware he has a better economy, better defenses, better tech. He got into the main and saw that Dark had not started a Lair yet, and Shin already has a Lair on the way. So it's, believe it or not, a Lair takes as much time as a Lair takes. So therefore Shin can do the very simple math of knowing he's going to be ahead on Roach speed. Going to be ahead on +1, because Dark didn't have an Evo chamber. Dark has the gold, which makes this economic deficit less glaring, but it's bad. It's bad. Dark tried to go for the gold, but at the end of the day, I don't know if he'll be growing old. These jokes are aging like mold. Hopefully, you're already sold. As the prophecy foretold. Winter's humor is very cold. And now Dark is likely about to get rolled. Well, if Dark somehow intimidates Shin into not attacking for like 2 minutes through any means, all right, I'm not saying they're legal. I'm not an expert on such things, despite whatever clickbait thumbnail there is. Well, so if Shin doesn't attack with the +1 roaches and speed, then maybe, well, it's not good. Huh. Well, we'll see what Dark puts together to defend. As the roaches through the... So not much is the answer. Not gonna have a very spirited defense there. Dark leaves the game. Okay. Moving on. The gold base did not work out and Shin able to press the advantage to great effect. Ends up taking it in quite decisive fashion. As usually what happens when you're down or up twice the economy with better tech and more units. The simple math actually works out for once. And Dark falters. But that brings us to game 4. Ocean. Ocean Man. Another relatively... No gold base for Dark to throw himself at in a surprising amount of desperation. But instead, the most at Cloud Kingdom version 6.9 here. As we must always have at least a couple maps that are the most generic things imaginable. Beautiful, beautiful map. And of course, we've always got to have our underwater map. I'm preferable... There's been maps in the past that have... There's like a slider. I don't know exactly how it works, but like a gravity slider. That's how we do the underwater stuff, and things just float up some of the time. I've seen maps that have it like halfway, like moon gravity or something. And those are very cool as well. Like units will slowly float up and come back down. Or if they get hit hard enough, will just go into orbit. But it's not like a toggle, but it does seem to be a slider instead. Which I would like there to be a bit more variety, but just having. I mean, I think the animations and the graphics still hold up today. Though that might be some Stockholm syndrome. But occasionally people bring up the idea of StarCraft 2 remastered, because we're coming up on the amount of time it was with Brood War, about 17 years before Brood War was remastered. Not that I would... Well, that was sad. That is... I tried to block it. Did not work out. But honestly, I don't think, unlike Brood War, where the graphical update was so dramatic, yet still relatively subtle, that they included a button that said, would you like to go back to 1998 and see how many pixels we didn't have? Because they did such a good job of it. That obviously that team isn't still at Blizzard. So I wouldn't trust today's Blizzard to do anything like that. And you're like, well, why not StarCraft 3? Refer to my previous points. But I just settle for the intern going full time at this point, but here we are. Hopefully you're enjoying the full-time commentary, though. And I appreciate you being here for it. You even watched the mirror matchup on the end, which, in my opinion, objectively entertaining. But I know how mirror matchups, based on, basic analytics, are a massive turnoff to most people. Because they enjoy diversity. And speaking of which, we've got all sorts of units. Queens and drones against Zerglings. And a single Baneling. And this is not a... In fact, this is... a bit desperate. Kills one queen. The Evo Chamber cancels out of Solidarity, and then traps in the Zerglings. And the Baneling... Nope. Ice Baneling escape now. There's something both inspiring and immensely depressing about a single Baneling making its way back home. Alright. It makes it home to the hatchery where it was originally spawned. It's a love story. Explosive love. Now on Hallmark. Or maybe another site, but I don't think we can reference those. Dronely fans. Creep drop from Dark. And there's a bunch of roaches on the way now. Which is 6. That's a bunch, obviously. Dark will have +1 in speed significantly quicker than Shin. And, well, what does Shin have? He's got the red color, which means his units are faster. But overall, Dark has a slight edge in every metric. Because Shin tried a big Zergling attack that did mostly emotional damage. Otherwise, he doesn't really have any edges across the board. The roaches are coming across. And tunneling claws and burrow on the way. And Dark has also started with his +2 ranged attack. And the ranged attack upgrade is a significant advantage in the roach battles. Picks off a couple drones and scuttles away. Gets away with the murder. In fact, he's going to pick off some extra Zerglings and roaches as well. Just compounding the slight advantage into something a bit more dramatic. Roach Ravager on the way as Shin gonna try to put an attack together. I think he realizes it's not gonna get any better than +1 in ranged attack. Problem is, Dark is going to have the same amount of roaches, give or take, and he's already working on the tunneling claws, so... And there's no +1 ranged attack for Shin, which a few roach advantages easily balanced out by that upgrade. I'll see. Army supply goes to Shin. But the corrosive bow's already zoning. And again, that ranged attack is a huge deal. Just trying to snipe off the overlords. Overlord manages to evade it. Impressive feat. Meanwhile, the roaches will burrow. Tunneling claws is done now. And Dark will turn the tables. Just casually snipes the changeling. Just knocking out some more roaches on the way across. Corrosive bile. And a few roaches took the wrong path. The reinforcing ones will take them down. And, well, so we're kind of left back in that original scenario, which is Dark has more workers, not by a lot, but he's going to have better upgrades. He has tunneling claws, which is a large amount of sustainability. The healing that it provides can easily bring your army back up to full after a fight. And roaches don't really kill each other very quickly. Shin is actually supply blocked from overlords taking things down here. Or overlords being taken down, rather, by the Ravagers. Actually missed a shot. Huh? Well. The tunneling claws roaches. +2, +1 already done. Finally finishes off that Ovi. And 2 upgrade advantage plus tunneling claws plus more roaches equals possibly 2 Gs. And game, third game going to Dark. But here we go. No. GG. Dark takes it. A comfortable victory. Another Roach Ravager timing. The well-calculated aggression carrying him through yet again. We didn't even see a hint of a hive throughout both series. But still, I think, arguably makes it more entertaining. So hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you to the Korean StarCraft 2 League. Make sure to check them out on Patreon. If you made it this far, it'd be awesome if you could check it out. And also me, of course, if you got the means of motivation. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.